Geographic Information Systems Director for St Charles Parish.
And as I understand, you did some work recently with Trimble involving your street lamp infrastructure.
Yes, for the Trimble solutions, we're using the street lights, and we're also doing the trash bins and debris pickup, and we're also want to do several other things, but I haven't launched or built anything yet, but it's going to be to report like critical issues, your power outages, power lines down, stand in the water.
You know, what was the problem that you had, and when did you start to address it?
The biggest problem that we have is there's currently no way of really reporting streetlight outages other than sending an email to somebody. They document it on a spreadsheet, and once it gets on the spreadsheet, it goes to an electrician that's contracted out, and it kind of gets lost in this old paperwork structure that they have. There's no work order system or anything. And a while back when they introduced TerraFlex, you know, it was kind of interesting that I could see live updates and everything with the TerraFlex solution. And the contract monitor that's responsible for the streetlights, it's one person, and she is completely overwhelmed with streetlights, debris, trash bins, everything else. And I kind of looked at her workflow, and I was looking at her, how can I help you? So I went with her, and she had, you know, during the day, during work hours, there's no way to tell if the light's working or not. So you have to either go at night or sift through emails and texts, and there's no way to catalog this, really.
Do you know how many streetlights St. Charles Parish has?
So far, we've got about 80% of the parish done, and I think there was 6,483 of them. And we still probably have another couple thousand to collect.
So the total would be over 8,000?
Yes, and that's just the ones that the parish maintains. It doesn't include what the state maintains. So I went with her, I took a ride with her and kind of looked at her process, and it was just completely inefficient. So I keep very close ties to the Trimble vendor when they told me about the TerraFlex solution, and then I met with Matisse Moore, and he said, hey, we have this Trimble Solutions package coming out that might benefit you. Well, I think it took probably maybe 6 months for them to kind of get everything together, and I said, please just contact me when you have it so I can take a look at it. It all started from there. I mean, it makes it a lot easier now that if we go out and collect all the street lights, the residents can now have a way to actually report street light outages without us having to ride around at night or sift through hundreds of emails. The Trimble Feedback solution is packaged. It's so easy to operate. You know, so easy. It's completely easy for a resident to go in there, enter their name, address, and stay updated in the loop. It's not to what is wrong with the light, but what's the status of it? Is it being repaired? Has it been submitted for a work order? Has it been completed? And, you know, it just makes the whole workflow a lot easier. I met with a councilman for each district, and I briefed them a little bit on what we could probably provide for them, and they were completely for it. And they were like, do whatever you got to do. It sounds amazing. So for us to be able to have a solution that's packaged already, ready to go, and it ties in seamlessly with our software, our hardware, I mean, for us it was a no-brainer. When a resident enters their name and their address, it zooms to their location. They can see the relationship of their, let's say, a street light's out across the street from their house. They can actually see their house and the street light that we've collected. It shows up as a dot on the map. They can click on that dot on the map and fill out a form saying, hey, is the street light out? Is it damaged? And then whatever other pertinent information, and submit that request. So that request goes immediately to the contract monitor's office, to the council member, to the resident, and to the electrician. We're looking at a work order system that we want to tie all this in as well.
And as far as linking these two systems up, the database and this reporting system, was that pretty easy? Did it take a while to integrate the systems?
It was done in one day, and I learned how to use it. It was so straightforward. It was installed in one day. It was very, very easy and seamless, too. This is going to eventually reduce the volume of emails and calls, and also leave a paper trail that shows accountability for replacing these assets. So right now, it gets caught in a loophole, and it could be 3 months in some cases before a light gets fixed or a trash bin gets replaced.
Right, so now you've got a digital paper trail to keep track of all that.
Exactly.
Oh, that's great.
Can you characterize what the benefits have been to the city and to the customers?
The benefits of it in the long run are going to be we can provide a better service for the resident that wasn't there before. The way I look at it, it has more accountability, because somewhere the existing method that they're using right now, it gets caught up in spreadsheets and emails and phone calls and voicemails. And like I said, there's no way to really track what's being replaced, what the status of a request is. None of that is available right now. Like I said, there's one person, the contract monitor, that's handling this right now, and it's completely overwhelming. So in terms of her using the application, she can actually administer what is actually being requested and also provide a report to the council. We can identify where the breakdown is occurring. Is it the parish's responsibility, the contractor's responsibility, and we can work on identifying what that problem is and fix it. Right now we have no way of doing it. In terms of cost saving, we don't really, they were looking at expanding the department and probably hiring more people to handle the high volumes of calls and emails. And the way that this is looking right now is going to cut her work efforts significantly. So she can manage her end a lot easier, a lot better also, and more efficiently.
Top of our discussion that you had some thoughts or plans on expanding some of this kind of geocoding of infrastructure that the parish controls. What are you planning or thinking about doing with it in the future?
I met with the Emergency Operations Center, and living in southeast Louisiana, we're a target for hurricanes. So one of the I've worked a number of emergency responses already where you get a high volume of calls, and people are reporting like, "Oh, my power's out here. This store is closed," or whatever. There's not an efficient way of reporting this. So we would actually have to go out and document a lot of these things, or report, listen to the high volume of calls and document everything on paper. So we're trying to make it easier for the resident to go in and say, "Hey, my light's out. We have standing water, or a ruptured water line, everything." So there's going to be a venue now for them to actually report this on the web and also visualize. Let's say they've evacuated, they'll be able to visualize on a map, saying, "Okay, well, this area is open, or the street lights are out, power's out, high water in this area is closed, you can't pass it." So now they'll have a way of actually, not just to report it, but look at it on a map, see if they're allowed to come back in, etc.
Is there any way to put a time frame on that? Can you say that this system's going to pay for itself in the first year?
Oh, absolutely. I think it would pay itself off in the first month.
Wow.
It's fairly, it's very affordable. Its install time is quick. It ties in with everything that we have. So in terms of what we paid for it versus the amount of man hours it requires to manage this, the current way versus the new way is going to be a significant savings. It would pay itself off in the first month.